Hello, Facebook family. Welcome to Let's Talk Relationships. I am here with my fabulous co-hosts. On my left, your right will be Charlene Hargrove, and then on my right, your left is Terrence Perry.
Hello,
And
Facebook.
yes, and we are coming here this week to talk to you about relationships, and we hope everybody will tune in. And if you have any questions or you have any input, please feel free to go ahead and type it in, and we will mention it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start. Which one of you wonderful guys want to take the role? Terrence, you always let
Always
us
let
go
ladies first.
right. But this time we the
Let
ladies
me
are. I don't know, so we're gonna
push it my way.
yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. Um, my question is, what now is when is it time to quit when you're either in a long-term relationship or marriage? The question is, when is it time to quit? And I don't want the answer to be when it's all said and done. We know that's the general, the final analysis when it's all said and done. But I'm talking about the specifics. When is the time to quit? When is the time, whatever you're going through, when is it time to stop going through that to say, I've had enough, or this has gotten to be too much? When is the time to quit?
I can tell you if there's any type of physical harm, it's time to quit. Even if you don't end the relationship or the marriage, especially marriage, I think if physical harm, you might want to cut the relationship period. But the marriage is a little bit different to me. I just hold true to vows. But if there's physical harm, or even if there's a lot of emotional or abuse, it's time to at that time it's time to separate. The one advice that my pastor gave me when I was going through a lot of situations with my spouse was that he said, you can pray for reconciliation, you ain't got to stay in that mess. So you can work on your marriage, but you ain't got to be in that home, especially if there is a lot of physical abuse. You can't be in that. So for me, that's when I know it's time to go. It's time to quit. At least a temporary quit for me.
If it's a
In
physical
marriage.
abuse, if it's a physical abuse, the way I see it, whether it be marriage or it be in a relationship, I think it's time to quit because and not look back, because those relationships to me only they get worse. They don't get better, and they have a cycle. They have a lifespan. So it has the abuse, and it has the apology, it has the smooth over, and then it has the abuse again, and it continues to go. And it only feeds fire when that person sees that you're not going to go, that you're not going to go, because then that empowers them even more to do what they're doing, because abuse has nothing to do with love. Is power.
And I agree.
And so if that person is trying to gain power over you, then nothing is going to change for that person. And sometimes it takes them coming out of that relationship and maybe going into something else where somebody else says, no, I'm not going to put up with that, for them to stop it. But I just don't see where in an abusive relationship with an abuser that taking a break and coming back makes it any better. A lot of women have lost their lives for taking a break and making it better, or somebody's trying to get them out of it, and then they think, oh, they listen to them and they come back. And then at that point, they kill them because they know now you're a flight risk. And I want, right. And the whole point was, I want to keep you under my thumb, and you got away from me before, you won't get away from me again. So I think if it becomes an abusive physical relationship, then it's time to vacate the premises and find you someplace safe to be. Now, if it's that's a verbal abuse too, because mental abuse is just as worse as physical abuse, because a person can tear you down from the inside, and then at that point you can't. The person feels helpless, and that's the whole part of the abuse, is they want to deteriorate that person's inner being. They want to tear them down to the point to where they feel that they have to be dependent on them. So if it may not be any outward scars, but they're inward scars, and that can be just as devastating, because people can help a person if they see outward scars, but when you have verbal abuse, those inward scars people don't see, and a lot of people are able to mask those and walk around and nobody knows. And then when something happens, everybody thought, well, I thought they were happy. I never saw so and so, and that's because it was an inward abuse. So on that, but if it's just, oh, he doesn't, little small stuff. Oh, he doesn't put the toilet seat down. Oh, he doesn't this. Oh, he doesn't that. Or if the two people are going in two different directions, and now there's no longer any happiness in there, or if there's continuous arguing going on because one person wants to do one thing and another person wants to do another thing, and nobody's seeing eye to eye and nobody wants to compromise. I think at that point, when there's no compromising and nobody wants to say, okay, let's talk about this, let's do some counseling, let's do that, I think at that point it's time to go separate ways.
Okay, so let me put it back out to the Facebook audience again. The question is, when is it time to quit, whether in a marriage or long-term relationship? When is it time to quit? Charlene said more of in a marriage, you should
I think that like we're saying, I agree with what she's saying, especially when in an abusive situation. But with her, to me, is more what she's speaking about is if it's long term, because at that point when you get to you leave definitely. I have seen situations where people have gotten upset, and it's that first push. So if you're married, you can exit that situation, and that person may have never been taught how to actually have a conversation with somebody without getting physical. So I'm not going to say that I don't promote abuse, but I just know that first push, that first hit, that first thing, it's time to draw a line. It's time to say, hey, we may need to enter into counseling. We may need to do something like that. Because I've known people that have been hit once and never been hit again. So I'm more inclined to work on a marriage than I am on a relationship, as far as somebody I've been dating for a year and there's some signs of, because the physical abuse always shows signs before it gets to be that point. It is the little things they say to you, which is it is such a hurtful thing when you are verbally abusing someone. And like you said, those are some of the scars that are hard to heal. And you carry that on. That's where people say, oh, you're bitter and you're angry. Stuff like that. But,
well, speaking as someone that was in my early 20s, was actually in an abusive relationship, that can be devastating. So I think at any time it becomes point now gets to be to a physical and it escalates. So it's not necessarily a push on you. It may be a throw down something or a punch in the wall or they don't want you to go or be around family, or they want that's a shutdown or a block off. And if a person has a strong will, then that makes the abuse worse, because the person that they're going against is somebody that is not going to go that way. So it frustrates them even more, because the personality of the person that they're in, as far as with me being a strong-willed person, so, you tell me no, and I'm like, well, what do you mean no? And so we're going back and forth. So you hit me, I hit you twice. You hit, what I mean? Yeah. So it'll get to the point, and at that point, you have to make a determination. Okay, either I'm going to kill you, or you're going to kill me. Exactly. And I don't plan to be the one going to the grave. So you about to die. So I need to back on off. But you can't just walk away from something like that. Sometimes you can't do it in a frontward sense. You have to do it in a backdoor sense.
I did that.
That person,
because they can be very confrontational, and and that was one of the things. Because I went through that, and I never forget one of the things that really bothered me was the fact that my his aunt came across the street. She heard us arguing one day, and she told me, "Why don't you just not say something?" And that always bothered me, because what you did was victimize the victim.
Right.
There should never be a point in time where I can't say what I need to say. That doesn't escalate into the fact that you got to push me or hit me or anything like that. It should never be to that point, because it is words. The words can hurt, but it should never lead to physical violence. But that's how a lot of people, she's older, that they just don't say anything. Don't aggravate the man. Don't do that. And that really puts you in a position where you don't have a voice.
And I always have to have a voice,
I
but
know.
but you know, and then it comes from, you know, and when you find out, it actually is how they were brought up in the situation they
Yes.
was brought up. Because when we went to go visit his family, you know, we got into one of those confrontational things, and his mom said he's just like his daddy. So what that
Wow,
tells,
yeah.
what does that say? That says that you've gone through this,
Yes.
you see that, you know that, and it's supposed to be okay, you know, but it's not okay. And all I could do is look at her like she was cuckoo crazy, you know, but that type of relationship, and literally it takes a lot of courage for that woman to finally say,
it does.
enough is enough. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'd rather be, you basically have to say this to yourself. I'd rather be dead than to stay in this relationship.
No, you'd rather be alive.
No, you
and
have
leave.
to, right. But the thing is they continuously tell you that before I let you go, I'll kill you. So you have to go ahead and make up in your mind. I'd rather die than stay here, because if you let that fear, then you won't leave.
Yeah.
So you have to mentally tell yourself that death is better than this, for you to go ahead, pack your stuff up, and leave, and be able to handle whatever the consequences are that come across it. And, you know, literally you challenge them. You know, I'm one that was the challenge, you know, went to so far, and then it went to the point to where, okay, he didn't do anything. But literally, I was riding down the street, and he was behind me in a shotgun, and we drive down the street, and I'm like, well, okay, where's a cop at when you need one? You know, but you know, but you know, so people wonder, how can people get into relationships like that? And they always think it's a weak woman that gets into a relationship.
Very
but
much.
It's not necessarily that. Sometimes it doesn't even, the animal doesn't even look like that type of animal until you're all the way in it. And then you see, okay, this is escalating into something, because they don't come at you like that. You know, everything is loving, everything is kind. Then you may get one little outburst or something tossed or something broken. You think, well, you know, whatever. You know.
Got a couple questions. Not questions. Any feedback?
Yeah, Michelle was just saying that that she likes the quote that when someone shows you their character, believe them the first time. And she also mentioned that abusers are in the church too. So don't automatically think
that's right, that the church is
you
safe,
don't have
right?
to observe.
Check that front pew.
That's it.
The devil goes to church. He was in heaven, right?
That's
He
right.
sure
That's
was.
right. Till
He
he
sure
got a
was.
front way
Right.
down.
Sure
That's
was.
right.
So those
Okay.
are the two comments.
So
Okay, so let me give you my feedback. I personally believe before it even get to that point, you should leave. I say leave early, even if I don't care if you're married, divorced, you might want to get married again sometime down the road. Get married later down the road again. Have another marriage, but that one need to end, because, like you said, it's only going to get worse. It's that cycle. The cycle ends for a minute, everything seems fine, and then it kicks in again. So I don't think that cycle ends until the cycle is broken.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, you have to leave, because you don't want to get to a point, like I said, you don't want to get to a point where you got to say, hey, I got to, I'm going to die or leave this. But sometimes, like you said, you have to figure out, if it goes that far, it gets to that point. You got to kind of see it coming. And if you, like I said, the first push, that's too much. That emotional and verbal abuse, that's enough to let you know the light bulb comes on then. You know what I'm saying? This is about to get ugly. Go ahead on. And the verbal back and forth, to me, is even too much. Because, you should be able to say what you want to say, and that person should be able to say what they want to say without anybody putting hands on each other. But we see often too many times that it don't happen that way. Somebody say, they say something, and then they want to try to control you by shutting you up, and it gets physical.
Right.
It's just
and
too
you
much.
can't just walk around being silent all the time,
So
never having a verbal to say anything. So every time they say something, I can't say anything because they're going to be upset.
Exactly.
Then,
if you're worried about somebody being upset, you don't need to be with her.
Walking on
right.
I can't
eggshell.
say what I want to
Walking
do.
on
That's
eggshell.
right.
And
You walking on
it's a
eggshell.
feeling that you, if you've never been in it, and you could be in it, and it could be not just relationship, it could be parental,
Right.
where your parents can retaliate
Right.
like that.
Right.
So, walking on eggshell is it's not a pleasant feeling. So that's why I said, especially if I was dating somebody and I saw that, I gotta go.
Right.
Because I've been through it before and I know I'm not gonna deal with that. And like I said, when sometimes you may be more inclined to try to seek counseling or try to build a marriage because you've been in a marriage and you have a commitment. But I'm not gonna try to fix a relationship I've been in for 6 months and I see those signs because it was a relationship. I move on and I'm gone.
Okay. So, who have the next question? We'll move on from that. From that question, move on to the next. Either one of you that want to.
Well, my question is, I had a experience today online with a young lady who was married, and she was trying to talk about, why there's so many single women out here and things like that.
Why there's so many singles, so less of single men.
Yeah, and exactly. And when I gave that, it's, again, the first thing a brother comes at. You ain't gonna never get no man with your attitude.
Oh gosh.
Always, it's always that brother that does that, which is, and I'm like, when are we gonna stop trying to hide under a lie and just admit what it is? When you say there's some good men out here, are there good men that are looking for relationships? So yeah, you can have a whole bunch of brothers. Because I asked the lady, can you give me the names and numbers of these good men? I asked the man, where are these brothers that are looking to build relationships? Because I ain't found them. Where they at?
Well, again, you have to look at the definition of what someone calls a good man. Some people say a good man is anybody that has a job. As long as he got a job,
Breathing,
and he's breathing, that's a good man. So
No.
what is it that they're considering to be a good man? Yeah, there are. In that case, there's a whole lot of good men out there. But that doesn't, there's got to be some other things, other characteristics, some other properties that come along with that to say that is a good man.
Because the bad brothers not even looking for relationships. The bad brothers. These are the guys that, a lot of women say, they have an issue of the knots, not a job, not a house, not an education. They have a lot of knots. They're going through addiction programs and, they look for, professional women. And because they want to have exactly, but then they don't even want to. You give them an opportunity because that's one of the things that a lot of brothers say to me. Oh, y'all don't give a brother like me a chance. You give him a chance, and then are you going to work today? You on the couch? I come home, house dirty. Not particularly me per se, but house is dirty. But I hear a lot of women complaining. Why are you with him? And we normally think if you give somebody a chance, that they would be so, like, I got a good woman here. She works. She doesn't. They don't appreciate that. They up there on social media.
Well, I always say it like this, and idle mind is the devil's playground. So if they don't have a job and they don't have anything else, then they got to do something.
They got to do something.
So if they're not putting it to something positive, then they putting it to something negative. Yeah. So that's why while you're out working, they got Sally Sue who don't have a job either in your house. Eating your food.
Exactly. They gotta have that woman that's gonna bring in the finances. Then they go have that other woman that's gonna be their ride or die. They can call anytime. Because I just saw today, before I came, it was on the court show. This guy was married, and the woman, she admitted, I've been his side chick for 11 years. He's like getting mad at the wife and go be with her. Then he get mad at her and go be with her. He said, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. He just didn't feel that way. She was like, she accepted that role.
If they accept that for 11 years,
she accepted that role, and I can't comprehend that. And I see more and more women now that actually are accepting men knowing they have multiple women because they have that mentality. I'd rather be with him than be by myself. And I
don't have that mentality.
Well,
what's the So just kind of reiterate your question.
Oh yeah, the question
again,
basically is, where are the men that are basically looking for relationships?
Let me ask you this.
Or are they looking?
What's wrong with being single?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
So in that, being single is fine until
the right person
comes along. So be it. And if that person don't, still, it's nothing wrong with singleness.
I think the
You gotta embrace
society
it, love it.
sometimes
Stop
puts up-
stereotyping.
right,
Like
puts
it's
up-
something like
right,
a disease
and
that
if a
you're
person-
single.
If a person's a certain age and they're single, something must be wrong with them. Why does this have to be something must be wrong with them? Must be maybe it should be something that it must be good with them because they're
Ooh, I
able
like
to
that.
they're able
I mean, that's true.
to be be in themselves and be comfortable with who they are. They are able to sit and watch a movie and not feel like they have to have somebody else there. They can go and get something to eat and not feel like they got to have somebody else.
Right.
To me, there's nothing wrong with that. Once you get comfortable in your singleness, I think at that point you are at your best because you are loving you. So then now you are, and then at that time you have an understanding of who you are. You have an understanding of what it is that you want, what it is you're looking. You have things mapped out. And then when somebody comes your way, you can say, okay, do they meet where it is that I'm trying to go? Do they fit into this diagram of what I've set up as far as my life goes? And if not, then you can feel comfortable to say, you know what, you're probably a good person, but you're not the person for me. And feel comfortable with that. But a lot of women feel,
They got
and
to have
men,
somebody.
right? And there's some men that feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
That
People,
they got,
period.
they got to have
somebody.
got to have somebody to quantify who they are.
Right.
You should be able to quantify who you are by just being you.
Well, and you should be able to sit alone, spend time alone with yourself, and be comfortable with yourself.
Right.
Not I got to have somebody in my ear or beside me or with me or to make me whole or what have you.
Yeah, I mean,
better-
when you fall apart,
that's the nonsense.
You better come home.
That's the nonsense that we're being fed all the time. So people think that, and I'm gonna say that marriage is all that, but it's really not, because 50% of the marriages don't last anyway. 50% of people get married, get divorced. The other 25% may stay married because they got stuff together and nobody hates to give it up. I done talked to enough people that's married that won't leave the marriage, not because they're not in love, but they got things.
Yeah.
And the things they don't want to part with, material things,
I've heard
the house and the furniture and all of this and all that. So they stay together for material reasons.
Yeah.
But they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not making that
in
marriage
2 separate
stronger.
rooms,
Yeah.
So
if I don't want to be with
I would
you,
rather be single any day than live that life.
I can't do
Some
that.
people rather live that life. I'd rather be single.
Right. Exactly. I mean, stuff can always be replaced, but your peace of mind is something that is very fragile and very important. So when you gamble that, I mean, just for things, then what does that say? You give up on what you don't have the talent to get it. You got it once, you get it again.
And if your faith is strong, you know anything is possible. If I got it once, I can get it again and again.
Right. That's right.
Let it go. And
That's
that's
right.
But
They let
some
their
people
love
don't.
stop them
let
from-
go.
They let their love stop them from getting their prenup.
I know, that's right. I came in with X, Y, and Z.
I believe
yes.
in prenup.
But I think people think prenups is for somebody that has millions of dollars. No, that's
no,
for
it's not.
anybody that has anything. Whether if it's your purses and you don't want to make sure that they don't wind up being personal.
Even buying and selling a house, being married, because technically I'm still legally married. Technically I am by the state of North Carolina. So, I have to sign a form.
You're still in business, because marriage is a business.
Yeah,
it's a business partnership.
Yeah. So we had to sign this document when I had to go tell him we got to sign this document because if I buy his house, he had to be at closing.
Yeah,
and if I sell it,
I can't have nobody like that.
Yeah, if I sell it, but he had to sign those papers. Oh, he'll sign them.
Yeah, but that's just that means I gotta go ask him. I mean,
but y'all
can I buy my house? Oh no.
Well, technically, because even before we separated, because I was legally married to him, even just withdrawing money off my retirement, he has to sign that paper. That's right. Even if you're in a marriage,
that's a partnership.
That's part of partnership.
Right.
So even if you're married and you got ready to sell a house, you still have to deal with that because you can do it before he bought his house before we got legally married. I have rights to that.
Right.
So by signing this piece of paper, it frees me and frees him. That means I can't claim his house. He can't claim my house. So he'll sign it. It's not a big deal.
But I look at it like this, and being, more into what it is, it always makes me wonder when I hear women say, okay, well, we've been separated. And I say, well, are you married? He says, well, I've been separated. I said, well, how long? Oh, 10 years, 20, 10 years. Yeah. So you were separated for 10 years. So that means you didn't care about this person. You stayed away from him. And now you stayed married to him for 10 years. So you know what that means? Now he is legally binded to get anything of yours that had, whether it be retirement, if you die, he can claim it because he's on, whether it be Social Security, he can claim on that because it's been 10 years. So you took this joke.
Life support if
Yeah,
your family should have to say over that.
When my business took off, that's when my mom, because during the time when I first separated, it was financial. Because even though it may only be $300, that was $300 I didn't have. So when my business started to grow, my mom said, "Are you still married?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." And she said, "You better go and get your divorce."
Right.
So
Yeah, because otherwise,
I never thought about it.
I'm not saying you personally, but anybody that's married and the marriage is over, I say go ahead and end it, because that attachment is a legal attachment and it keeps you bound.
Exactly, it really does. It really does.
And then if you just think, if you do meet that special person that you're talking about, you can't do anything.
That might be the reason to stay married. I won't make a mistake. I won't do it again.
No, but then you don't. Then you just don't offer you. And you look at it like this: if you don't close one book, why should God open up another one?
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
So he's like, okay, let that go, set that free, so I can bring you something else in.
Yeah,
if you were looking for a good man, I got this good man, but I'm not gonna bring him
If I met a woman that was still married, I'm done. We can't.
Yeah,
you don't have a future.
I'm not gonna put my time. I'm not gonna put my time in it because and you may be single in spirit at that point. But my thing is just you don't end that work. Whatever needs to happen with that, then
you can't never think future because you're still attached to that past. Whether he may not be there where you can actually see him, but he's still that ankle bracelet.
Yes, sure was. A shackle.
Holding on. Holding on.
We got a couple questions from some Facebookers in the comment. Let's see a couple comments.
She
Names.
said, "Amen. You're keeping it 100." Michelle. Hill. Amen. You're keeping it 100. The more you're comfortable in your own skin, the more you're able to go to the movies alone, go on vacation alone, and be inside your own head alone. Alone doesn't mean lonely.
Amen. Right. That's right. It's a difference.
That's right.
You could be lonely in a room full of people.
Very much so.
That's nice. All right. So let's go ahead on to our next question.
Okay. Well, my next question is basically about healing. I think a lot of people, and this kind of goes along with being comfortable with being single, when they get out of relationships, whether it be a long-term relationship or just a small, short relationship, they tend to turn around and jump right back into something else without taking healing time, without taking observation time. To me, if something doesn't work, step back and try to figure out, well, why didn't it work? Instead of I think a lot of people try to go and I call it rebound, go to somebody else to help them get over the thought of this person. But technically you really didn't. You just pushed them to the side because now you got this distraction here, but eventually that distraction is going to do something that make you going to go back and start thinking about this over here. So,
and the thing too,
because then you're still dragging that baggage. So when this person here does something, it's going to trigger what happened on this end. And then you don't really give the next person that's coming in a fair shake because they're coming in a mess. So heal yourself. To me, I think your person should take the time to heal yourself. And then observe what happened. And then at that point, again, get comfortable with you. then start to go out, and then if you want to open yourself up to another relationship. But jumping out of one into another, you really never solve anything, and sometimes you go to something worse because you're just looking for something quick to get your mind off of what you just lost. So
your heart, you get your heart, your heart haven't healed,
right?
So you're distracting yourself by bringing other people in to, instead of feeling the pain, whatever pain you feel in your heart, you're trying not to feel it. You're either pushing it down, you're trying to distract yourself, jump into another relationship because you don't want to feel that heartache. Mm-hmm. And you need to feel it and get through it and get beyond it. As they say, it'll get better.
Right.
But people don't want to go through that process of, okay, I got to go through this pain of, this pain in my heart.
Right. All the memories.
You got to go through it. You got to go through it.
I remember when I ate this ice cream. I ate it with him, or I ate it with her. Or, oh man, that song reminds me. That song reminds me of him. And I don't want to think about that anymore. But that doesn't mean you're not going to think about it, because that same song might come up when you with somebody else. And you can't love that other person. To me, you can't fully love the new person until you heal from the pain of the old person. True. You can tell somebody all day long, I love you, but if you've not healed from what's going on,
you're just saying the word.
Right. You're just saying the words and you don't feel it, because technically they don't have any space in your heart, because you still got that pain and that tornness in your heart. So you can't go forward. So my question is, to the audience and to you guys, why don't people just take the time to heal? What's the rush?
The pain. They don't want to feel the pain. So in order to avoid the pain, you move on to the next whoever. As they say, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I'm gonna feel that void for you tonight.
Stop!
Now he's rhyming.
I know,
okay.
Right? You're just trying to avoid the pain of going through that. It's a process. And like you say, even you're gonna hear that song again, or something gonna remind you of it. You're never truly healed. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're never really truly healed, but for the most part, you're able to. Because there's always some residue from any relationship that you've been in. You don't leave this earth and you've been with somebody and they're totally, you're totally removed of them. They're always in some form of fashion a part of you, but you got to come to grips with, you got to come to grips with that's your past.
Right.
That ain't your present and they ain't going with you in the future. Get with your future and leave your past behind. But it is your past. That's a part of your life.
Well, that's why I think the growth comes in and the analyzing, because you analyze what went wrong and then you take that and you use it to make yourself better or whatever it is. Well, maybe we didn't communicate. So the next relationship, I'm going to work on communication. You do things that are set aside. Okay, well, they didn't. I noticed that we didn't have a whole lot in common. So the next relationship, I'm going to make sure we have at least some things in common. That way we can work together or talk together, something, but if you don't take that time to analyze and to think about things and to see how to make yourself better, you never learn from those mistakes and you just keep going into the same mistakes over and over again. So what do you think, Shelley?
Well, I can tell you just from speaking to a lot of girlfriends, it's something that they want that most women never receive, and that's closure. Mm-hmm. Most women never get closure when a guy breaks up with them or ends the relationship or is unfaithful, because most women want to know why, and I'm like, you'll never know why. They'll never give you a reason why. They want to know why the guy has moved on, because I can speak from when I left my spouse. I was able to move on because I had emotionally detached from him before I even physically left the house. Right. So in relationships, usually it's going to be two people that one person wants to stay and the other person wants to go. Mm-hmm. The person that wants to go is already starting to emotionally leave. Right. Mm-hmm. So you looking at them and thinking they have just, how did he just or she start their life so quickly? Because they did it way before they actually physically left the relationship or ended the relationship. And so a lot of women get caught up and they can't heal because they expect the man to give that healing to them. They want to find this closure that you may never, ever get. I always say, it didn't work. He didn't love me. It hurts. It's time for me to, I'm going to watch him have a great life And I'm sitting over here still crying.
Right,
Yeah,
feeling
I'm
miserable.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and the whole why. I mean, if you really look at the situation, it tells you why. Why did he cheat on me? Because he can't keep his stuff in his pants. Answer's already answered.
Yeah.
You know, they want to try to say, is there something wrong with me? No. If you're comfortable with who you are, then you know, well, it must be him.
I had a question.
Renita asks, healing is good and right, but what exactly does healing look like?
When the tears to me dry up and you can sit there and you can start thinking about what is your next step, whether it be to start whatever it is that you wanted to start, or to actually open yourself up to somebody else, to start seeing somebody else, then to me, that's when you can say healing has taken place. When you no longer feel that hollowness in the inside of you, but you feel that you're ready to take on a new challenge and be happy about it.
And let me
that's healing.
Add to what you said, just take it back to your first thing was the hollowness. You got to feel that. You know, the hollowness, the crying. Yeah, you go through it, feel it. You got to experience it.
Right.
Some people try not to, but you got to. Then, like you said, you can move on to those other steps.
Right.
You're not going to move on to those other steps truly until if it was tears you needed to shed the tears. If it's a hollowness in your heart that you need to feel the hollowness in your heart. But most people try to block it and act like it ain't happening or it ain't there. No, you need to feel your way through it, and you will get beyond it.
And I think for women,
men and women, I'm saying, because a lot of men try to block it out with going to the next or drinking, whatever it takes to fill that void. But the void don't need to be filled so quickly. You need to deal with that void that's in your life at that time yourself.
Right.
Then those other steps, you're ready to move to those other steps slowly but surely.
And I think for women, our strongest suit is when we do cry, because to me, it's like a cleansing of our soul.
Yeah.
Because once you shed them tears, you let it out. You've done it. You know, you sit there and you know, good cry never hurt anybody, but it sure will make you go ahead and say, okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do this.
Say that one last cry or whatever you do. I mean, some people have to do stuff physically. If you need to go run. Do whatever you need to do. Take it, but get it out your system.
Right.
Because holding it in is going to fester and it's going to come out again later in the next relationship.
And don't necessarily mean you got to call a girlfriend and talk it over with them for them to say, girl, you know you were right, or girl, you know he was wrong. Girl, no.
Validation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or how could he do that to you? You know you were so and so and so just to boot. No, that's still not, you're not dealing it with you, and then you're not comfortable with working things out for you. It's very important for people to learn how to work their issues out amongst themselves, and whoever, and if it's spiritual, God, but if that's not your thing, to be comfortable working it out for yourself, then you learn how to be comfortable with yourself, because you learn how to take you and understand your mind and how it thinks and how it works without having to hear all this going on in each side of your ears.
And crying don't make you weak, or
no.
Having that holiday heart don't make you. People feel like they cry, they weak and all that. No, that ain't weakness. That's strength.
But because they told somebody else, and somebody else said, "Oh man, I can't believe you cried over there." And just keep it to yourself. What happened in the privacy of your home happens in the privacy of your home. However it is you need to deal with your pain, deal with your pain. But there's nothing wrong with dealing with pain. There's a whole lot wrong with covering it up, because eventually that pain will fester inside and you implode. So that you don't implode, just deal with it and work it out and be comfortable thinking on your own. After you dealt with the pain and you're at one with who you are and the direction you want to go, and your mind is clear and focused. If you want to talk with your girlfriends, then that's fine, or your your male friends, that's fine. But sometimes all of that stops you from doing what it is that you need to do.
We call it eargasm.
Yeah.
Don't use all that, don't use all that mess in your ear. Anybody else have any feedback for us?
There was one comment that said, I disagree with something
Who
you
said
said, Renita,
Renita.
that you can be healed from a bad relationship when you can see it as a lesson learned. I think that was when you said you never can
totally healed.
be healed,
Yeah.
and she was just voicing her
Lessons
opinion
learned.
about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, you learn lessons, but totally healing. Yeah, okay. That's God centered. But I mean,
And then
we do the best we can. But
Yeah,
you know,
we do
total
the best.
healing.
But once you
You always
have
gonna
the
feel-
memory,
Yeah.
once you have the memory, it's almost. I was just talking to my ex-husband this a couple of days ago about that once it's not even possible to love somebody like that again,
Right.
because you've been through too much now. You know too much. You won't be that
Vulnerable.
naive.
Right.
You can't
Right,
be
right.
because you're not.
Right. You
You know.
learn a lesson learned.
Exactly.
Right.
You're a different person,
Mhm.
so you can't ever really be different because you've experienced it. So that may be in the sense
Yeah.
that you're talking about total healing. You're still gonna feel it.
Feel
It's
it,
still
yeah.
gonna have something there, but it doesn't have to necessarily ruin your day.
Right. And it don't ruin your life. You don't take that into your future. You don't take it into that. You're not stuck in that. That ain't something that keeps coming up.
Mhm.
You know, but people always have some. There's always going to be some
Because you
residue.
remember.
Well, I think
Right.
it's like
Even in
death.
childhood, that's
Right.
going to be residue in some that you've gone through and dealt with. It's never truly gone.
Right. Well, I think
You know,
I look
unless
at
you
it
just you get amnesia, then I guess it's gone.
I look at it as like death. It's the same thing. The death of a loved one or death of a relationship is still death,
Right.
and you never forget the person that passed. But each day it gets a little bit easier
There
and
you
a
go.
little bit easier,
And
and you
that's my
still
point.
be able to
That's my
function
point.
and move
Yeah.
on with your life. It's still a memory there because you still had good times and bad times.
Mhm.
Everything wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So, once you get over the pain, you still remember the good times. You remember, I remember when we did this or that.
Mhm.
So your mind, once you heal, that's another part of healing. Once you heal, then you can accept the good times and not feel bad about
Yeah.
it,
Right.
but appreciate it.
Appreciate
And-
the good, and that's what you take into your next
Right.
relationship.
Instead
Just the the good, what you've learned from about yourself, what you need to do differently. Yeah, do those
That's how
things.
you know
going
you're
forward.
healed.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I left my spouse, I could never ever walk back in that house. I never would. Every time I took my kids there, it was like, you come here. Nope, I just could not go in that house.
Right.
Then when I finally forgave and I got past all of that, I was able to walk in the house because
You were healed.
I was healed. It didn't bother me
Mhm.
because it was that position where I said that I knew why the things that happened in our marriage happened because of certain things that he was going through, and I knew that I could forgive him, and I forgave, and I moved past it,
Mhm.
and it was done. So you can, like the lady said, what does it look like? I mean, it was a burden lifted off my
Right.
shoulders.
It feels
Because
lighter.
you
feel
carry
lighter.
that. You
Right.
carry that. And that's why people say, I may have been able to move into another relationship, but I could not grow as a person
Mhm.
because I was holding on to wanting him to do certain things, to acknowledge this right here. Like you said, that closure, fess up to this and that. And I was waiting for him to justify me. And I realized I didn't need that. So
Right.
then I was able to,
And like you said, there was something you said before, a lot of people get caught up looking at the other person being mad because they're happy.
Right.
Instead of focusing on you
Mhm.
and then doing what makes you happy, you want them to be miserable because they walked away or they were so-and-so, so you want them to be, and then when they're not miserable, then that makes you even more
Right. You
feeling
can't be
bad,
happy because you
right?
want
Because you want them to be miserable.
Yeah.
Why they smiling? Why they happy?
Yeah.
How can they get married again? And you could have had all those things too if you just let closure and let go and moved on. You could have had the same, but you probably had the same person or different people come in that would make great relationships. You could have been married, but because you were so busy focusing on that past and
Mhm.
looking and wishing, all sorts of harm to come to this person, you missed something good that was walking right there beside that was looking to give love. So, it's that focus.
It's our relationship clarity flower.
Hello.
Yeah,
Those were words.
It's that clarity flower.
Yeah, it's that clarity flower blooming.
Blooming,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bloom if you're still looking backwards.
That's right.
Yeah, can't
That
do
is
that.
so
The windshield is bigger than the.
Exactly.
The
Rear view mirror.
There's a
Exactly.
reason why,
Yep.
right? That's right. There's a reason
See
why.
forward.
Oh.
See backwards. I
Forward.
can't do that.
Mhm.
All right, do we have time for one more question, or are we wrapping up? How time look?
We got 10
We got 10
minutes.
Okay, so can we take another do another question? Anybody that's got a Facebook
Renita
comment?
said, I think of it as growth. We're ever changing beings, and that's a good thing.
Mhm.
Love looks different for all of us through the years.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's deep.
That's true.
Mhm.
That is so true.
Mhm. Okay. You have another question?
Comment.
Oh yeah. Well, I was I because of what happened earlier, I was Googling, the ratio of men to women, and I did find out. I think it was in Wyoming or somewhere. There's more men than women.
Black, white, what?
I gotta go look at that.
Wyoming. It sounds like a bunch of white people.
Yeah, I can't think. I gotta remember, but I did look it up. In
You date
in
white
North
men?
Carolina, no, I don't. I really, everybody has their preference. I like the Chocolate
Okay.
Brothers. I gotta have a black man.
Wyoming
So-
might not be where you want to look though, but
Yeah, but it was just very curious that they have up there. In North Carolina is like 8-1.
8-1, which way? Male to
Eight
female or female to
women
man?
to every man.
Oh.
8 women to every man. And the odds are, against us. So, I just encourage a lot of men, to kind of just, like we said about being single, stop trying to really bring down, especially our black women, by acting like there's something wrong with them because they're single. I had a gentleman that I had went out with. And so he hit me up probably about a year later. He said, "You still single?" I figured you would have been in a relationship by now. I said, "Yeah, I'm waiting on you to be ready." Well, I'm not trying to get no. I said, "Then how are you surprised?
Uh-huh.
How are you surprised? How are men surprised that educated, successful black women are single? And when we ask, what are you looking for? You're looking for a friend." How are you surprised about that?
It was a surprise.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're surprised, and it really does hurt me a lot that some of the responses I get from men when it comes down to when a woman speaks her mind, they lash out at you. That's why you can't get a man, and I'm like, who says I'm looking? There's it really. I want to be able to, like, even with this panel, this show, to be able to have a conversation with a man and be 100% honest and be real.
Right.
I don't think that just because I engage with a man that he has to say, well, you are a great woman, but I'm not ready for a relationship. And he should not have to say, well, she's a good woman, I better grab her, because then in the end, he's going for a goal that he doesn't want just because he sees me available. And I never knock a person for being out there and doing what they want to do. I only have to knock somebody for being misleading. Don't tell me that you want something serious with me when you got all these other Betty Sues and stuff on the side. Don't do that,
Right.
But I'm too old. I'm 50. I mean, keep it 100.
But that's also true when you say that ratio is 8-1. You got to look at it too when you go up in age. The ratio is even wider.
It's what they did. It was better for younger
it's
people.
A half a
Yeah,
man.
it was better.
What is
no.
it?
Well, she's saying 8
10
to 1.
to a half a man.
It was better when you were
Probably
younger.
16 to
It was
1.
better when you were younger. But I did my age group. I'm going to post it in the group. But I did my age group, and it was really bad. It was 8-1. And when I told the young gentleman today when the lady posted it, I said, well, if you're single, it's more relevant. There's probably something wrong with you when you have 8 women to choose from, and I got just one man. So the odds are in your favor.
Why you don't have a woman,
Yes,
right?
the odds are in your favor. So you have more to choose from than I do. And just like I said, the guy that approached me, I think we talked about it last week, but 2 weeks ago. He kept coming with something. He said, well, I got my 9-month chip. He's going.
Oh,
He's 2 hours from me. He don't have a license. He don't have a car.
Well, that alone would have just been like chick.
And then on top of that, you want somebody to give you a chance.
I
but
couldn't
you're
wait
looking to
till
be a
my
player.
son was able to get his license, so I didn't have to drive a man back and forth and around.
I know,
I'm not
that's
going to
right.
do a
Yeah,
grown one like
exactly.
that. So,
You need to date somebody local.
he don't even need to date.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, I'm putting it out there. He don't even need to date. It ain't time.
But
for him
if
to
I,
date
as a
right now.
woman, if I say that, men lash out at us. They
That's
call
all
us.
too, but I'm gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
They can do what they want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
He don't need to be dating.
Well,
He
that's
ain't
different.
ready. He need
Right.
to get his stuff together.
Oh, yeah.
Before
Get
you
the
go
ducks
in
in a
there,
row.
don't be offering somebody mess.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then
they wanna
expecting
offer
them to
you
just
mess.
take it and then deal with it while they're in it.
I'm
you know?
sorry, I just not.
He ain't ready.
He not for me.
He's available, but he ain't
Yeah,
ready.
exactly.
There's
He
a
available.
difference.
He available.
Different.
I'll
There's a
send
big
y'all his
difference.
email address if you're looking. I'm not looking.
And be ready to do transport, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, you're now public transportation. You know.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get ready to close out. But before we do, I want to say, do you all have any events that's coming up, or any thing that you all have going on coming up in May, June, July that you want to share?
Yes, I do. I have an event coming up on the 20th of May. It's a beauty class where I'll be teaching beauty techniques. It's expanding off of my Boots to Heels. And that flyer is going to go out, and I'm going to also have an event in June, 2 events, but one of them will also be where be discussing more of the 5-minute face and the beauty techniques going on. The products I'll be utilizing are Mary Kay products because I am a senior Mary Kay beauty consultant, but the class will expand so much further than that because I will also get into personal branding and imaging as well.
Oh,
Now, where's that?
yeah.
That's going to be at 6,600 Six Forks
Okay.
Road, Suite 202 in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Is there a cost?
For this event, no, but the one in June there will be.
Okay.
So,
And men invited.
and men invited as well.
Let me ask you this: are men able to pursue a career with Mary Kay?
They sure
Are there
are.
jobs available?
They sure are.
For men.
There
Okay.
sure are, because we have
I
male
would love
products.
for a man to.
So we do have
Fix my
male
face.
products, and it's very important for a man to be concerned about his aging and whether or not his skin is right, just as it is a woman. So,
You might wanna-
and we have smell good colognes. So that's another thing, if you want to
no
smell
crow's
good,
feet.
that snatches a woman's attention too when her nose is tickled. So-
Exactly. I can definitely.
Renita reminded us of the North Carolina Fatherhood Conference, June 10th.
Day-to-day.
Okay.
Common is the keynote.
Oh, okay.
frcfatherhood.org.
Where's that going to be at? I know Derek Berry is the president of that company. Say where is
So what we'll do is we'll go and get more information and we'll post it on the on our website so that anybody will be
men
interested.
should be there, right? It's
Yes,
a
that's
fatherhood
right.
conference.
So as a father,
it's gonna be-
unfortunately, they might all be fathers, but whether they're
Well,
attached or
yeah,
not,
that is
so
true.
that's another thing. Women has to think about that just like men
Well,
do.
you got babies and he got babies and maybe y'all
That work good, but if
Brady
you don't
Bunch.
have babies and he has babies, then I don't think that's the one for you. If you're in winter and he's in summer, I think we should just.
season?
Yes, that's right. So what about you?
Got a poet and authors event coming up in, I want to say June the 24th, but I don't have the flyer in front of me, so I'll be putting that flyer out tomorrow. It'll be all over.
Sheraton. Oh, sorry.
But it'll be at the 7-Eleven Hillsborough Junior League Center from 5 to 10. There'll be a jazz band. That'll be poets. We'll be authors. We'll have our books, for sale. There'll be food. So, but I'll put that out there more once I have the that flyer out. I think it's already out. The flyer is already out.
I
but
saw it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the time. I know it was in June, so I did see
Yeah,
that.
June. I want to say June 24th. Junior League Center. Anybody that want a vendor, just hit me up. tperry5000@gmail.com. I won't give my phone number now, but if you already have it or get it, you can call me, and you can get a vendor spot if you want to. If you want a vendor that particular day, you don't have to. You don't necessarily have to be an author or a poet, but we're not looking for people that want to sell clothes. You can sell jewelry.
Mhm.
Somebody called me wanted to bring a clothing line in to sell. I'm like, no, we're not that.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about that later. So appreciate you all for joining in.
Sean, we got a
okay.
website. You have a business, so this.
Oh yes, I do medical billing, and you is TriMedBillingSolutions.com, www.trimed-billingsolutions.com. So if you know the medical, dental, or DME providers that are having issues with their revenue, they can definitely contact us.
All right, now you can close it out.
Okay. Lorena, you got a lunch rally or anything?
You doing a class?
I am doing another do-it-yourself webmaster class
All right.
coming up soon, so I'll be posting that. And I started a podcast.
Oh,
All right.
So
okay.
we've done 2 episodes, and we're still waiting for some approvals on that. But that was really fun. So that's at MoveMyMountain.com.
Okay.
What time
great.
is the podcast at a certain time?
No, it's just on your phone, like
Yeah.
when you go and
Oh, okay.
subscribe to on Apple or Google Play. It's on Google Play and Stitcher already, and SoundCloud, and just me talking, having fun, interviewing people.
Oh, nice. Okay,
I like to
great.
hear myself talk.
Awesome. And I just want to say I did take that webmaster class, and it was awesome.
I'll
So
wait to take mine.
definitely.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Yes,
Sandra,
sir.
take us out. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, joining us, the feedback, the comments. We'll be again next Thursday. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
All right.
Right.
Wait.
Uh,
It's just-